been babying this 701 for 2 years, just doing some light dual sporting, a little bit of dirt road exploration, but I finally gave in. I got the suspension done, got the fuel programmer installed, so no more flame outs. Got a tubeless put in the rear. Now I'm testing this thing out for its first real aggressive single track ride. I am running an ABS dongle that nullifies the rear ABS. That way I can slip the tires in and out of turns. I've got a 52-inch rear sprocket, so I think I added 2 teeth. Or I can't remember the size, but whatever 2 teeth up from stock is what I'm running. And it makes a world of difference. I've gone down into first gear here for some of this slower, tighter stuff, but I've been running second gear most of the day through these woods. The front end feels a little nervous, but I'm trying not to read too much into it because of 3 things. 1, my suspension is definitely not broken in. My front tire, a Dunlop 606, is definitely probably the best front dual sport tire if you do a lot of off-road riding, but it's not 100% knobby grippy, and I'm coming straight off my 300, which had all the front grip that you could ever need. And then the last thing is that it is a little bit muddy today, so hard to make a judgment about your front end on a slick day. But going through this stuff, it's really soaking it up nice. And the other reason that I had it set off was because on deceleration, coming into turns, when I would hit the front brakes, I would get a ton of brake dive, and I just didn't feel like the suspension would hold up very well. So they sprung it for me. They lowered it a little bit since I'm a short guy. Set my sag correctly. Now I'm ripping. With the 2 teeth extra on that rear sprocket, this thing chugs like a madman. There's maybe one thing I could think of today from riding it after doing my mods that it could possibly need in addition to what I've already done. A front steering stabilizer would be pretty nice. It's it feels really good, you know, up and down, soaking up roots and rocks, but every now and then coming around some ruts or rocks in the trail, when you're just going straight, you got a little bit of speed, you can feel some side-to-side deflection. That would be the only thing. Even then, I'm not sure if it's worth the money based off how good this thing's already doing today. I can't wait to get back to the truck and check out my suspension bands and see how much of the travel I'm using. I haven't touched the clicker since they sent it to me. I'm already happy with it though, so I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to Solid Performance KTM up in Pennsylvania. I had a really tough time trying to find somebody that would even touch this bike, because most dirt bike suspension shops only want to deal with a 450 or less. So Solid is a WP factory dealer, and they're very knowledgeable, reasonably priced. I just don't have many complaints. and I'm pretty happy right out of the box without touching a single clicker already. So I can't wait to get the first 5 hours or so on it like they suggested to break it in, and then start dialing in my clickers. I paid way too much for this bike to not use it like I should. You know, if I'm doing riding like this, I almost exclusively grab the 300 out of the garage. Don't even give this thing a second thought, but I think I'm proving to myself right now that you can throw whatever you want at this thing. I used to have this, I really hated the way that it flamed out in the woods too, because I put that FMF exhaust on here. Rottweiler Performance sent me an ECU out, and this is like the first 30 minutes I put on the new ECU. It's incredible. I mean, there's no hesitation, no bog. Just can leave the clutch off into the turns in first gear, and it doesn't even think about flaming out. Now, it's a 701. It's significantly more than 300 pounds, more than double the weight. Well, not quite double the weight of my 300, but it feels double the weight. It's not a fair comparison. And if I had to give up my 300 to have this bike, I just wouldn't do it. I love my 300 more than any bike I've ever ridden in the history of Earth. But if you have the means, or if you're not doing tight single track or any weekend racing like I do sometimes, it's 701 is no joke in the woods. Not to mention, get on the highway and just cruise at 65 miles an hour to wherever you're going. And there's the added bonus of this thing having the power of a super bike. I mean, with a rear tire that's not super knobby, you get this thing out on the road, hit the throttle, it will rip. I think the 0 to 60 stock on these things is somewhere around 3.5 seconds, which is just nuts for it to be able to do that, and then for me to be able to come riding through this wet, muddy Tennessee single track. Just pretty pumped on it for sure. You do have to, like I did right there, be a little bit careful with line selection. Take the good routes through the woods, but hopefully this video just serves as proof that there is absolutely no reason that you can't use this bike as a woods bike. There's the power. Wow. Won't go too fast through here since I don't know the trail or where it breaks off. half of me really wants to open this thing up and really push it through here. But I just don't know this trail. It's brand new. Probably can't stop quite as quick as my 300 on this slick surface if something were to come up. Alright folks, first few minutes breaking in my newly woods modded Husqvarna 701 Enduro.